Before you give up, remember why you started. Don't let circumstances push you to let go of something you have invested so much into. Give yourself another day. Give yourself another try. And trust me, you'll get there. There is no motivation this morning, my brother. If you want to give up, give up. Damn. The kingdom of God suffered violence, and violence taken it by force.
Welcome back, guys. I trust you've been staying safe. Now, the gentleman you just saw is none other than Emmanuel Sechi Efriye, and he's currently alleged to be in hot waters. In fact, very hot waters, because he's the prime suspect charged with stealing a whooping 1.2 million Ghana cedis from a bank in Ghana, West Africa. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with the Ghana cedi equivalent in USD, I'll do the conversion just so you can appreciate the magnitude of the crime he is charged or alleged to have committed. The equivalent is a whopping 100,000 US dollars, and Emmanuel Sechi Efriye is the prime suspect charged allegedly with the crime of stealing this money from the accounts of customers of the bank. This is an ongoing case, and the details are going to shock you. It's going to wake you up to the fact that you can't trust anybody, and even if you feel like you can trust, you should do very well to verify as well. If you are ready for this true crime story, just buckle up and let's go. Now, before we get into today's true crime story, kindly support our campaign against femicide by going to the comment section and just type in "please say no to femicide" or hashtag "please stop the femicide" and help us drive this campaign. Also, our analytics show us that many of you are watching our videos but you haven't subscribed to our channel, and this is not helping us. Kindly subscribe if you are yet to do so, and if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much. We appreciate your support. Now to the substantive case at hand. Just 16 months after being employed as a contract staff of a bank in Ghana, well, it's reported the name of the bank's name is Absa Bank Ghana. Just 16 months after being employed as a contract staff at this bank, 25-year-old Emmanuel Sechi Efriye has been able to break into customers' accounts to allegedly steal a whopping 1.2 million Ghana cedis, the equivalent of about 100,000 US dollars. Now, the irony of the whole thing, well, there are stages to the irony actually. One of the stages is that some of the customers he stole from included a former Inspector General of Police and also a late High Court judge, or a retired High Court judge, let me put it that way. Now, talk about the impudence. Stealing is one thing, but you decide not to steal from any other people but a retired Inspector General of Police and a retired judge. Well, karma has a way of coming around. Now, this is what he is alleged to have done. The accused allegedly transferred funds of customers to 17 people, including the girlfriend of his co-conspirator, another person whose name I would withhold for now. Now, Emmanuel, the accused, together with another person and other people who were his accomplices, committed several crimes, and they are currently arraigned in court on various charges, including stealing and conspiracy. Now, Emmanuel alone, as the main guy, is facing additional charges of forgery of other documents and the falsification of accounts, bringing the total charges leveled against him to 13. This is going to be a Herculean task for him to beat, actually, because even going with just one charge against you is not an easy feat, not to talk of 13 charges leveled against him. And this is a crime involving a bank and transactions he has done. I'm sure there's going to be a paper trail, vouchers will be involved, system trails, CCTV to corroborate, and a whole lot of IT-backed evidence behind the scenes from the back end. I don't think he can beat this. Actually, I don't think Emmanuel can beat this. Maybe he could beat some of the charges, but I don't think he can beat all 13 and go out working a free man. I don't think so. But the issue has gone to court, so I keep my fingers crossed on that. That was just my opinion. I'm leaving it at that, and we get into the facts as has been put out there by credible sources. Now, as at the time that they were arraigned, all the accused persons, including Emmanuel, pleaded not guilty to the offenses, and Emmanuel was remanded, but the rest were not, because they were granted bail in the sum of 200,000 Ghana cedis each, with two sureties who are in gainful employment and earn not less than 2,500 Ghana cedis a month. Now, it gets better and it gets more interesting, because we are going to look at the facts of everything that happened. How was it possible that a contract staff who had been in employment for just about 16 months was able to steal about $100,000 in its cedi equivalent of 1.2 million Ghana cedis? Something had to give, and it did. And you saw him in the intro. The violence shall take it by force. Well, let's see what happened. So, this is how the whole thing came up. And this is coming from an alleged account that the head of fraud detection and operations at Absa Bank, Ghana Limited, had presented as part of what was narrated out there. So, Emmanuel is a resident of Laboni, and until May 2023, he was contracted as a processing officer at Absa Bank. Now, another accomplice of his, who is also 26 years old and a student at the University of Ghana, Legon. Another accomplice is 31 years old, a trader. Another 25 years old, a trader. Another Fuad, 32 years old, who is a system administrator. And another 25-year-old accomplice, who is an entrepreneur. Others at large also include other persons who are also within the age bracket of 20 to 30 years old, or just above 30. So you see, these are young guys in their prime who should actually be relishing the prospect of working hard to earn genuine income and build their country and themselves. But some way, somehow, they resorted to cut corners. Now, when Emmanuel was employed by Absa Bank as a contract staff in the month of February 2022, he was posted to the Osu branch as a processing officer, and per that, his job description was to assist customers in loan processing, treasury bill purchasing, debit card processing, dormant accounts reactivation, and customer account maintenance, amongst other duties. Now, because of how this job description was, Emmanuel got the opportunity to work on several accounts, including that of one of the victims' bonus and savings accounts. However, sometime in February 2023, Emmanuel decided to take an online coding course. So, he registered for the online coding course, which the renewable annual subscription fee was $174 and 30 cents. And in Ghana cedis, the equivalent is 2,287 Ghana cedis and 69 pesos. Unfortunately, instead of Emmanuel resorting to pay for the course out of his own pocket, Emmanuel decided that he would rather make the payment on one of the accounts of one of his victims using a Visa card of that account. So that was when he first attempted his fraud and was successful. This happened on February 6th of 2023. So he used a Visa card on a customer's account to make a payment for his online coding course that he had enrolled for. That was his first theft. Now, it didn't last, and he couldn't keep it a secret because as a result of that, the complainant and the fraud team of the bank were gathering evidence on the matter to engage Emmanuel because a complaint was made. It's alleged that the customer got an SMS alert and he complained. But when evidence was being gathered to engage Emmanuel, he made a swift move to tender in his resignation as at 31st of May 2023. So he got wind of the fact that they were preparing to come and tender some evidence against him for using the card of a customer to pay for his online course, thereby meaning that he has taken money from the customer's account, sort of stolen the money actually. And for him to beat that, he was trying to play smart by submitting his resignation as at 31st of May 2023. Now, the sudden resignation and the alleged illegal transaction on the customer's Visa card by Emmanuel made the bank officials more suspicious to investigate him in other areas. Rightly so. Rightly so. For those of you who are not so familiar with the dynamics of resigning from a bank and some institutions, you actually have to give about, I think, 1 month notice. Either that, or if you can't wait for 1 month, you would have to go and then you pay, I think, 1 month basic salary. Yeah, it may vary, but generally that is what most banks resort to. So obviously it will raise suspicion, especially when you're already on the hook for one fraud. So they decided to investigate him in other areas. Now, together with the fraud team, which was made up of the bank's IT experts, they detected that on April 20th, 2023, Emmanuel, by his own machination, accessed one of his colleagues' user ID and password to change the contact number on another customer's accounts. And he did this because he didn't want that customer to get an SMS alert when he steals from the customer. That was the first mistake he made on his first fraud, which had now led to him being investigated when he used the card. So he learned from it and he decided, okay, if I have to beat that mistake, then I have to change the phone number on the account so that if I steal, the victim doesn't get an SMS alert of my theft. Well, criminally smart, but hey, you can't beat the system. So on April 21st, 2023, Emmanuel personally set up an internet and mobile banking access on a particular victim's accounts using his own user ID and password, after which he had access and started operating on the accounts without the victim customer receiving any SMS alert. I explained this earlier. Therefore, from April 21st to May 12, 2023, Emmanuel, with full access to the victim's account, fraudulently transferred a total of 945,000 Ghana Cedis, including charges, from the accounts to a number of people. So he was even smurfing. For those of you who don't know, smurfing is where you get the money from illicit means and then you break it into small parts and spread it in an attempt to sort of not draw attention to yourself. First and foremost, Emmanuel transferred 90,000 Ghana Cedis to one of his accomplices' girlfriend at a different bank, and he transferred 180,000, 30,000 Ghana Cedis, another 30,000 Ghana Cedis to the accounts of other accomplices at 3 different banks. He went on to transfer 30,000, 30,000 again, 60,000, and 90,000 to other accounts of other accomplices and their accomplices at other banks. Again, he moved again to transfer 60,000, 30,000, 30,000, and 60,000 again, including another 30,000 to the accounts of other banks. Now, this guy was evolving, actually. because I think the first fraud he did with the card was to test the system. And when it was successful, it showed him that some of the controls were weak. But then when the customer got the SMS alert and reported, which resulted in him being investigated, he also realized he was a bit dumb on his part, and he learned from it and evolved, where he now was able to steal the access of a supervisor, and then he was transacting and changing phone numbers on customers' accounts and authorizing these things with the access of a supervisor without the supervisor's notice. So, on May 9th, 2023, from 7:21 a.m. to 7:32 a.m., that means 11 minutes, Emmanuel used another colleague and that of the branch managers by name Felicia Mackenzie's user IDs to change and authorize the contact numbers of 11 customers' accounts, including the account of a former IGP, the account of a reverend minister, the account of a high court judge, and this guy was good to go. Now, after that, he used 11 minutes to complete this process, after which he used his own user ID to set up online and mobile banking for these accounts on the 10th of May 2023. This meant that now he had taken control of these accounts. And then on the 11th of May 2023, Emmanuel transferred 50,000 Ghana Cedi from one of the victims' accounts, and then he moved it to another person's account. Now, he had also set up other accomplices with other accounts that he was transferring the money into. Aside all this, he went on to purchase an iPhone 14 Pro Max. You know, it's quite annoying to me the way this guy felt that by virtue of where he sits and the opportunity he thought he has the authority to steal from these customers, and the effrontery with which he went about it and what he's using the monies for. He stole and he purchased an iPhone 14 Pro Max with some of the money that he stole and requested for their bank account details and forwarded the same to Emmanuel to effect those fraudulent transfers into their accounts. Now, on the 12th of May 2023, Emmanuel was arrested by the police in respect of the first fraud he did, the Visa card theft. And then he was granted police inquiry bail, where he had to be reporting from time to time. On the 15th of May 2023, when he was being petitioned by the Director General of CID in respect of 1.2 million Ghana Cedi theft detected in furtherance to the Visa card case, it seemed like they were closing in on Emmanuel. But interestingly, when Emmanuel was contacted to report himself to the police, he refused to show up. Meanwhile, effort to compel his surety to produce him also failed. Fast forward, on the 4th of June 2023, Emmanuel, together with his girlfriend, one Ivy Oketchiri, who coincidentally had stood for him as his surety, attempted to escape from the jurisdiction of Ghana to Dubai, but he was arrested at the Kotoka International Airport by the Ghana Immigration Service and handed over to the police. So this is how it all ended for Emmanuel, and as we speak, the case is still building up. I wouldn't be surprised if the amount increases, because these are what they found out, but I bet you other victims will pop up on their own. It's very likely he's even culpable for other forms of fraud they have not either looked into yet, or they looked into but maybe they didn't pick up. When somebody does this, usually this is a sign that he may have done other things that are yet to come up. But I think it's a very sad thing. And the annoying thing also is, when people like this are successful with their crimes, they come back to social media and start quoting motivational messages like he was doing at the intro of this video.
Before you give up, remember why you started. Don't let circumstances push you to let go of something you have invested so much into. Give yourself another day. Give yourself another try. And trust me, you'll get there.
Where he would push out content and speeches trying to make it seem like hard work got him to where he is and got him the things he has. Because he actually bought a Toyota Corolla as well. Sorry, a Toyota Camry, per reports out there. And you'll find some of them even quoting scriptures from the Bible and praising God and thanking God and alluding their success to God. When between themselves and their God, they know they stole the money. He's just 25 to 26 years old. What the hell is he rushing for? Some people have been in that same bank for over a decade and they are biding their time by doing diligent work to earn genuine income. I think peer pressure and maybe laziness is also to blame. But in all that, he's a full-grown man and he's responsible for his actions. And I'm hoping the Lord deals with him squarely because coincidentally too, this is the same guy on social media who was actually calling on the Auditor General and the country's legal system to give harsher punishments to people who steal money. And it's so ironic because he's in the same bracket now. And I'm hoping that they will use him as an example and he would also embrace the example because he was actually advocating for that. I'm following this case to see how it goes. But hey, all that glitters is not gold. Bide your time. If you are watching me, listening to me, hey, don't feel bad when you are working hard and it looks like progress isn't coming at the pace you expect it to. Don't look at other colleagues of yours who seem to be getting ahead and look down on yourself or feel bad or think that your faith, your religion, your hard work and dedication is not paying off. I bet you don't have all the facts about what some people are doing out there. We've seen the case of Hadria for real. It's still ongoing, but I'm not judging, but it looks like sometimes things we see on social media are just not what they look like. And we've seen this guy, and I'll bring you other cases of other bankers too, who have done similar things. And it's something out there that when people steal, generally they wouldn't come and say on social media, I stole and made it. They will come and present to you a nice package of they themselves having worked hard, prayed, stayed motivated, and achieved, when in fact, they are just a bunch of thieves and liars. Hustle hard, tell the truth, be diligent, put in the hard work, and hey, it will surely pay off. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet done so. And what do you think about this whole issue? I would love to have your comments on this issue. And it's still evolving. So as and when new facts come up, I'll bring them up to you. And like I've been saying, please keep an eye out and stay safe out there. You never know who is capable of whatever. Catch you next time.